Hey everyone, what up Facebook? What up YouTube? What up Twitter? Whatever, what up, whatever the fuck I decide to post this. Don't know as of yet. Uh, yeah, this morning I just wanted to kind of sit here and talk about some things. It may be a long video, I don't know. Maybe a short video, I don't know. We're going to see what's happening. First of all, let me say that I am saddened to hear, especially of the suicide of Keith Flint from The Prodigy. Um, the Prodigy has been a long, long time musical influence. I know I've already stated this before, but I'm going to state it again. The Prodigy has been one of not only musical influence, but artistic influences in their videos, stuff like that to me, over a very long time. And he was not a young man. He was a older man who's obviously been in the arts for a very long time, and decided to take his own life. Um, a friend of mine online, she commented on, a fellow artist. She commented on it and basically said things that were exclusive to the music arts. And I kind of just added my input where I just, didn't disagree, but more or less I just kind of added to it and said I think that artists in general have a natural weakness or some would say kind of like an affinity for mental illness. I think artists, no matter what your medium, whether you're a painter, a musician, a comic book artist, whatever, I think a writer. I think we all are inherently, wired and hardwired and geared toward feeling things on a level that a lot of people are not accustomed to, thinking about things that people are not really accustomed to. And I know some of these things I've already covered before, but you may have never seen that video or took the time to watch it or talk about it or see what I said about it before. But I think in times like this, especially after yesterday, apparently we lost a lot of celebrities, a lot of people. I think it's important to kind of go back over and talk about it and share my experiences and just kind of reaffirm to a lot of people who are artists out there, suffering, struggling, stuff like that, that there's people out there who understand your journey and understand your pains. And I'm not going to say talking to someone is going to make everything better, because I know from my own suicide attempt and suicidal thoughts that it's something that never truly goes away. It's always something that kind of lingers. It's kind of like a constant thorn in your side, and you just learn how to acclimate to it and realize the symptoms early of what's happening. Me personally, on my personal journey, I decided to try to conquer my problems without seeking medication. I'm a very straightforward believer in attempting all you can to fix the problem without medication. I'm going to be honest with you about that, because I don't feel the pills that we are pumping people with now to make them happy or to medicate them are really solving any of the underlying issues. I feel that these things are leading you down a worse path of, if you ever do stop the drug, you could come out worse than you ever went in. Some of the drugs will leave you numb to feeling, and then when you get off of them, it's like you're rediscovering emotion once again. From testimonials I've heard or talks I've had with people about being on medication for depression and all these other things and anxieties and stuff, and just the overall effects of what it's done to you. And my personal path is not, it's up to each individual to decide what they're going to do and how they're going to do it, I guess. To me, the proof of concept is we have all these drugs to make people happy, but yet people are still committing suicide. If the drugs worked, if the treatments worked, then nobody would be committing suicide and there would be no mental issues left. That's just my humble perspective on it. If the shit was actually, if we had developed techniques that are actually stopping the problems, then it would no longer be a problem. That's simple, right? I mean, that's kind of the proof of concept, right? If you got the solution, then the problem is solved. There is no more of this problem, but we haven't. It's one of the hardest things that we go through, and a lot of artists don't talk about it. A lot of artists don't discuss it because they, they're afraid of repercussions. And I mean, I guess this segues into just the overall pervasive nature online and why I'm so militant against the censorship of arts, the censorship of people's individual voice, putting art in a box, putting self-expression in a box, putting people in a box, to say that you're not white enough, or you're not black enough, or you're not this kind of race, you're not this kind of gender, you can't do this. I don't believe in that shit. I don't believe in any of it. And primarily, I think one of those things is the fear that people have to talk about real subjects and real issues like suicide, like depression, like emotional breakdowns, stuff like that online, because there is this pervasive nature, and I mean, it fucking exists, and you could see it, to where people don't want you talking about the elephant in the room. They don't want you talking about the things. They want to have this forced, medicated reality where if they can't cope, then the rest of the world can't cope. If they can't talk about it, then the rest of the world can't talk about it, and shit like that. Forced positivity. You always have to be positive. You always have to talk about happy things. You can never discuss the hard realities of life. You can never discuss the truths of the world. And in that, doing this shit over time, I mean, especially when it comes to corporate censorship and corporate brand censorship, like YouTube censorship or Facebook censorship, regulating our social media to the degree where we are stifling the independent voices of people and stifling the realities and the truths of the world, I feel like we are only making this problem magnify and triplicate over time. I mean, it just goes to the example of, one creator made about, people saying the N-word once again. It's like, you don't get rid of racism, you just keep people from, blatantly expressing that. So then it becomes hidden. It becomes hidden and secretive again. I'm not black, obviously, but I mean, if I was a minority or a different ethnicity, I think I would want to identify those people, to know who I'm fucking dealing with, to not have them hide their thoughts of racism and bigotry. And I'm not saying that you should go to a black friend's page and just yell the word all the time and hit them over the head with it. I'm not saying shit like that, but I'm saying that the more we close off those walls and close off those things, the more we don't know. You know what I mean? And especially when in a world where, the biggest thing that can help is just expressing. That's a lot of what's helped me. If you're going through mental struggles and you're going through, basically mental anguish, I find the best thing that helped me was just being expressive, to even if like nobody watches my videos or anything like that, and I'm irrelevant and I'm not successful in video manufacturing, I don't do it because of those things primarily. I do it just to vent, especially when it comes to like these blurb posts or these fucking rambling posts or something. I just do it to get it out of my fucking head, and it helps. Because sometimes, a lot of times you don't have other people to talk to. You don't have, people are unavailable. And that's the whole other thing about, this culture and the things we don't acknowledge is like, I've said this before too. It's like, you don't understand how unavailable you are to people. You don't understand just how distant you become from people nowadays. You see them on your Facebook feed every day and stuff, and you think you guys are talking. That's not actual talking. That's not actual sitting down and having a conversation with somebody and talking to them and like seeing how they're doing or how's things been going. I mean, just liking posts on Facebook and all this shit and Twitter. It's like, oh, I'm keeping up with that person. You're actually not. You have very minimal, you're jacked into their lives, but you have very minimal contact with them as a person and a human being on a regular basis. And it's still a thing we're figuring out, but more or less it's like, all this social media bullshit we got, and we're more distant and afraid of each other and distant from each other more so now than ever in the human history. And that's just the overall nature of it. But Anybody who's out there suffering in silence, anybody who's, I implore you to talk about your problems. I implore you to fucking vocalize it, to put shape to it, to get it out of your head in any way you can, whether it's making videos, doing your art, just writing a post about what you're feeling and how you're feeling. Just talk about it. Whether anybody's listening or not is irrelevant. Just fucking talk about it. It helps a lot. It's helped me conquer a lot of my demons just by saying it out loud. Like sitting there and actually saying things out loud. Like, I'm fucking up. I'm not doing enough. I'm not, being as productive as I want to be. I'm not getting enough things done the way I want to be. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Family problems. All kinds of problems. You know what I mean? So, I'm just trying to leave you with some thoughts here and leave you with some, motivation. Because trust me, I kept things in for a long time. I didn't talk to people, and a lot of it, thinking back, a lot of it stemmed from the fact that I felt like there's an unspoken rule and an unspoken culture of don't talk about it, don't ruin my good time, don't say things that are going to make me depressed, don't say things that are going to do whatever, and I mean stuff like that, which is kind of understandable, but in the same turn, it's like, just like with the N-word, you can get rid of the word, but the problems are still there. You can get rid of people saying that they're sad or they're having a hard time or they're fucked up and they don't know how to deal or cope, but it's still going to be there. Like, and it's only going to make it worse, because then you cut off the outlets for somebody just to say, I'm fucking having a hard time. And that's where I think a lot of celebrities end up committing suicide because of shit like that, potentially. That they live this brand and they can't say what they want to say. At some point, their brand becomes more important than their individual voice and choices and expression. So at some point, it's like they can't fucking say what they want to say. They can't say what they want to say anymore. They got all these handlers and these pimps and these people managers and all this shit who are telling them constantly, you got to live through this standard of not saying certain things because we'll take your money away if you say something, right? And that's just like with fucking YouTube and Facebook. We're going to take away your monetization. We're going to take away your income and everything else and use our corporate financial leverage over you to censor you and to fucking stop you from saying what we don't want you to say. It's okay to say what we want you to say, but it's not okay to say what you want to say. And that's where the whole fucked up mental or the whole fucked up system becomes to me is like, are we really free anymore? Are we really becoming freer? Or are we really getting more locked down with what we're saying? Whether it be through corporate control or, society, basically like fellow free countrymen and women and fellow free people online saying what they want to say. Are we really free anymore? Are we really free to express what we want to when we want to? And it just seems like the fucking gates are closing and shit more and more, you know what I mean? But this video's ran on long enough anyway. Sorry to take so much of your time. I hope you guys have a great day. Try to be happy. Try to be positive. And if you're not, talk about it. Express it one way or another. Get it out of your fucking head and talk about it, okay? Don't be afraid and stand up and just say it. And I'm not saying go out there butt naked in the middle of the street and scream it from a mountaintop, but I'm saying, fucking sit there and express it. Some way, somehow, get it out of your head, get it out of your soul, get it out of your heart. And I think you'll find the more you do that, the more you're going to be able to fucking cope and deal and feel better. And I wish you guys the best. I'm going to keep doing my thing. I need to get back and get a lot of shit done. My pen nibs are supposed to be coming in today, so I'll be able to get that. Crank out a lot of shit, faster, better, stronger. That's how we got to be. That's how we got to be. And take care of each other, man. Like, if you see people struggling, if you see people fucked up out there, help them out. Talk to them. Say, hey, man, what's up? You ain't got to be a goddamn, like, psychologist. Just be a human being. That's all it takes is just being a fucking human being to another human being. That's all. Just listen to them or just talk to them or just, fucking joke around or just, let them express it either way. I mean, just let them get it out of their fucking head and their heart, okay? Because holding it in, not talking about it, not doing it, that's what leads to the decline. That's what adds to the problem. I'm just saying. But anyway, sorry for the long-winded rant. I love you guys. Have a good one. Keep an eye out for my new works. If you see some of my stuff you like, please share it across social media. Please help me out. That's going to be great. I'm really going to need some fucking support in the future here to get shit off the ground. So, thank you very much, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.